That's the Knack's My Sharona, a #1 hit in 1979 for the group out of Los Angeles. That song was played everywhere as Barack Obama left behind Hawaii for college in Southern California. Here is the photo of the 18-year-old attached to his Occidental College application. Nicknamed Oxy, it's a small nationally ranked liberal arts college wedged between downtown Los Angeles and Pasadena.
Occidental has been a movie set since 1919.
It might look a bit familiar.
The fountain was built just before Senator Obama arrived on campus. It had a very brief role in Star Trek III or Spock's funeral.
This is Haynes Hall Annex, currently under renovation. This dorm room is typical of where Barack lived.
I think it was kind of a maturation process at Occidental that changed who he was.
Despite speaking at an anti-apartheid rally in 1981, Obama told Newsweek that he felt his 2 years here were a dead end.
He met some professors there in particular. You know, you have a lot of promise. You can do something with your life here, and you're just kind of sitting around partying and not applying yourself as well as you could. And he took that message to heart.
And Barack Obama made good friends there at Oxy who support him today. We found a few in the yearbooks. Two very good freshman friends were from Karachi, Pakistan, Wahid Hamid and Mohammed Hassan Chandu. They're ranked as some of Obama's best bundlers and are members of his National Finance Committee. Each has raised more than $100,000 for the campaign. Hamid is a new board member of Pepsi Americas Incorporated. Chandu spent 2 years as Obama's roommate and is a self-employed financial consultant. He lives here just outside New York City. Another Oxy friend of Chandu's and Obama's is Margot Mifflin. She's a journalism professor at City University in New York. None would speak on camera or on the record to Fox News.
I traveled to Pakistan when I was in college.
While attending a San Francisco fundraiser last April, Obama mentioned a 3-week trip he took with Hamid to Pakistan and India, which included a visit with Chandu's family. He was 20 years old at the time.
Foreign policy is the area where I probably am most confident that I know more and understand the world better than Senator Clinton or Senator McCain. I knew what Sunni and Shia was before I joined the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
If this 3-week trip to Pakistan had left such an impression on him, why didn't he write about it in this book?
Adam Goldman writes for the Associated Press in the New York Bureau.
The campaign confirmed it by Margot Mifflin, who dated Chandu. She confirmed the story, and he traveled with Wahid. The campaign hasn't talked too much about it, and Wahid wouldn't return our phone calls, and Chandu declined to discuss it as well.
The campaign did not elaborate on our questions, but referred us to an April Newsweek interview in which Obama said, part of the most memorable portion was seeing what was essentially a feudal life. You had peasants who were still functioning as indentured servants.
Clearly, it had left an impression on him.
Soon after that trip, Obama transferred to Columbia.
I figured that if there weren't any more black students at Columbia than there were at Oxy, I'd be at least in the heart of a true city with black neighborhoods in close proximity.
New York City, 1981. The city was a mess. At Columbia, Obama did not live in campus housing. He has shared few specifics of people and details of where he lived.
Used to hang out in Washington Square Park. I know a little something about Greenwich Village. I was about to say I know some of the bars around here, and I think my communications director was trying to cut that off.
A campaign spokesman sent this email to Fox News stating that, quote, we actually only have one actual address, otherwise just streets or neighborhoods. Like many students, Obama moved around. Last October, the same spokesman told the New York Times that Barack doesn't remember the names of a lot of people in his life. We're at 109th Street near Amsterdam in New York City's Upper West Side. In the early 1980s, this was a very rough part of town. Barack Obama vividly writes about one of his first nights in New York City, saying he slept out in an alleyway that evening only to wake up in the morning with a white hen picking at garbage nearby and a homeless man washing himself in a fire hydrant.
The detectives up there called it Murder City.
Before he was a reporter for Fox 5 New York, Mike Sheehan was a detective with the NYPD's Manhattan North Homicide.
Dominican drug gangs had moved into that neighborhood and basically took the place over. There were killings every single night. There were chickens all over the place.
You're not making that up.
I'm not making that up.
Obama wrote that he moved to another address around 1982.
I was living in New York at the time on 94th between 2nd and 1st, part of that unnamed shifting border between East Harlem and the rest of Manhattan.
And Obama made a personal commitment while living in this 6th-floor walk-up building. I stopped getting high. I ran 3 miles a day and fasted on Sundays. Despite his healthy regimen, Obama lived with a hard-partying roommate whom he had met in Los Angeles.
He was visiting Chandu at Oxy. He met Obama at a New Year's Eve party before Obama transferred to Columbia, I believe in August of 1981. They exchanged numbers, and Obama, in fact, looked him up when he got to New York City.
Obama called him Sadiq in his book and described his roommate as a short, well-built Pakistani who overstayed his tourist visa and now made a living in New York's high-turnover illegal immigrant workforce waiting tables.
And I managed to track him down. Obama's descriptions of Siddiqui in the book, Siddiqui confirms, are accurate.
Adam Goldman broke the story May 15th. Fox News has confirmed that Siddiq's real name is Sohail Siddiqui.
That's his email.
Hal Siddiqui declined our producer's interview request by phone, in person, and by email.
He was dabbling in cocaine at the time he was living with Obama. Siddiqui maintains that they did not do drugs together.
And it was here in November of '82 that Obama received a life-changing phone call.
This is your Aunt Jane in Nairobi. Listen, Barry, your father is dead. He's killed in a car accident.
Soon after, Obama moved out and away from Siddiqui. Goldman says the last time Obama saw Siddiqui was 1988.
And he was living on the streets, 92, 93, and there was Chandu, another good friend of Obama's, who stepped in and helped Siddiqui clean up his act.
Obama graduated from Columbia in 1983 with a degree in political science, but few apparently remember him there.
We ended up speaking to more than 400 people who had graduated that year with Barack. They knew George Stephanopoulos, who graduated the year before, but not Barack.
Obama then worked in this Midtown building.
Eventually, a consulting house to a multinational corporation agreed to hire me as a research assistant. As far as I could tell, I was the only black man in the company. A source of shame for me, but a source of considerable pride for the company's secretarial pool.
But Obama wanted more. Now an Ivy League graduate, Barack Obama packs up his blue Honda and heads west to Chicago. In the Windy City, Obama finds a job, a home, and new friends, some of them controversial. 23-year-old Obama was a freshly minted graduate from Columbia University when he first arrived here in the Windy City. Years later, he would write that Chicago gave him a sense of place and purpose he was looking for.
I decided to become a community organizer. I'll organize black folks at the grassroots.
The role of a community organizer is to bring people together around an issue that everyone feels involved in.
For 3 years, Linda Randall worked with Obama to teach residents how to improve their tough living conditions on the south side of Chicago.
Here you can be booed by the organizations. They will curse you out. They will put you in place. They will walk with you. They will beat you down.
I knew what we needed. I knew what we wanted, but I didn't know how to go about getting them. And that's what Barack did.
But I could only pursue it because he showed me how.
Loretta Augustine Herron and Yvonne Lloyd were board members of a church-based organization, Developing Communities Project, also known as DCP.
This really looks different.
Obama worked as DCP's director for $13,000 a year.
The Altgeld Gardens public housing project sat at Chicago's southernmost edge.
These houses have not been refurbished in any way, so they're basically the way they were back in the 80s. You've got the waste dump on the east, you've got a sludge plant on the north, you've got steel mills on the west. There are no jobs out here.
The closest local branch of the Mayor's Office of Employment and Training, also known as MET, was a 45-minute drive away.
The problem is that you had to take public transportation.
That's right.
You had to go in such a roundabout way. It was very time-consuming. It was a long trip.
It was too hard on the kids and the adults.
Obama guided Yvonne and Loretta to set up a meeting with Met officials to demand a closer employment office.
We had a good crowd. We had a good floor team.
Yeah.
But things got a little heated with the director.
We were losing control. And so suddenly I'm hearing this voice from way in the back of the room, and it was Barack, and he was like, "Let Loretta speak. We want to hear from Loretta."